First, we're speaking English today, even in this program. It's not ours. We are supposed to own everything. We are still tied to a lot of influences. The colonial heritage is still very strong. There are a lot of Nigerians that are defecating on the expressway. Independent people don't defecate on the expressway.
I'm sure no leader ever taught us to defecate openly.
The cost of goods and services in the country is influenced and driven by the exchange rate of the dollar.
The price of goods in this country, as we speak today, is determined by the factors of demand and supply.
Nigeria is import dependent.
We make gari.
Nigeria is
determined by the price.
My name is Mark Otabo, and you are watching The Big. October 1st, 1960, the Union Jack came down and the green, white, green rose. A nation was born, a people declared free. Fast forward to now. Our economy is tethered to imports. Our foreign debts are sky high. Policies sometimes seem written abroad and not at home. Yet, we call ourselves independent. Are we truly in control of our destiny or still dancing to the drums of foreign powers? Today on The Big Issue, we ask the tough question. Is Nigeria truly independent? Is independence a date on the calendar or a reality we live every day? We are caught in deep tonight. No spin, no sugarcoating, because this right here is the big. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. With us in the studio are two distinguished minds. Of course, first we have someone who cut his democratic struggle teeth under the tutelage of late Dr. Beko Ransom Kuti, Anthony Nahoro, Baba Mojola, Gani Faweimi, Alfred Inleri, amongst others. Now, of course, during the days of military despotism, a member of so many civil society organizations, a good governance advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Nelson Ekujimi, and he says, Nigeria is independent and unarguably so. Please come forward. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. And of course, to grace the other side of the debate, we have Evans Ufeli Esquire, a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria and principal partner at the Chambers of Evans Ufeli. He says, what we have is flag independence. The chains are still very visible. Please welcome Barrister Evans Ufeli. You are not doing well enough for them. Please, come on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the battle of ideas begins shortly. When we return, we go head to head. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is The Big. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is The Big. All right. Well, let's get straight into it. The topic on the front burner here is Nigeria truly independent? And right now, we have to go straight to our guests to get to understand their perspectives on how this particular conversation would thrive. Now, I'll begin first with Barrister Ufeli. How do you begin? You are saying Nigeria is not independent. You are saying we are just independent on paper. How do you begin this conversation?
Well, that's very true. We're independent on paper because when you look at the structure of the country, I understand that we have the Independence Treaty, which we got in 1960. And we also have the Republican Constitution of 1963 that made us a republic. Okay, we have the 1979 Constitution that solidified the fact that we are supposed to be a sovereign state. We have our constitutional development starting from the first political party in 1923, the NNDP. From there, you will move further to the second political party in 1941. From there, we pulled out into the first constitution we have in Nigeria. That's the Clifford Constitution of 1922. Followed by the Richard Constitution of 1946, followed by the Macpherson Constitution of 1951, then the Littleton Constitution of 1954, before we started having the issue of the independence conferences that snowball into final independence. And in 1963, we practiced a parliamentary system of government. In 1979, we dropped it and picked the presidential system of government. We moved that further. The first, second, the Third Republic was short-lived by military incursion. The first was also after 6 years. In January 15, 1966, we had the first military incursion. Then we moved down to the Fourth Republic, where we are from 1999 to date. We have had unbroken democracy. But the true story of this summary I have made so far is that in all this struggle and the process of fine-tuning to have an independent state, it has not happened yet. It has not happened yet because we are still tied to a lot of influences. The colonial heritage is still very strong. First, we're speaking English today, even in this program. I mean, it's not ours. We are supposed to own everything. Independence means that independence means, by the dictionary meaning of the word, total freedom from all kind of influences and the rest of that. Look at our economy. Our economy is still highly tied to the West. Imperialism has taken a deep root in our economic sojourn to the point where, look at everyone here. We're putting on dresses that are foreign. Okay? That is not independence. That is neo-colonialism, okay? Before the advent of the white man, we had a way we were dressing then. Okay, we had animal skin and the rest of that. And then by now, we should have made a good effort to entrench it, to make it better, and then to retain our originality. That we have lost.
Okay.
So when you look at the issue properly, you just discover that independence is far away from us. We are really, really influenced by so many factors.
All right, thank you very much. Nelson Ekujimi, how do you begin? Because you are saying Nigeria is absolutely independent.
Absolutely.
How do you start?
Yes, thank you very much. My other colleague has just told us our history from 1922, the Clifford Constitution, up to the Independence Constitution in 1960. And if you look at our history in the last 65 years, you cannot but agree with me that we are truly independent in the sense that we determine the type of governance we have both at the three tiers of government. Is it at the federal, at the state, at the local government? We practice, constitutional democracy right now. Since 1999, the Fourth Republic that we have inherited from the military, you can see that at a periodical period of every 4 years, we organize our own, elections in which we set the rules. The rules are set by the Nigerian government. It's set by the institutions, be it INEC, the National Electoral Umpire, or the State Independent Electoral Commissions. That is for governance. Then looking at our economy, you look at our budgetary procedures or our budgetary processes, you and I will know very well that the President of Nigeria appoints the Minister of Finance as well as the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning. So that is to tell you that we are in control of our own destiny, even though we recognize that as an independent country, that no country is an island, that the world has become a global village. In the conduct of our affairs, we must not lose sight of the fact that we have relationship with other countries outside of Nigeria. But that does not take away our independence, because why we have those relationships is because we want to have a contact with our people who would have traveled over there, either for business, for pleasure, for marriage, or what have you. So Nigeria in the last 65 years has shown a country that has matured with its independence. Is a country that today, even though we've had military interruptions in our governance system, which has been responsible, that has contributed majorly to our economic downturn. But if you look at the way our civilian dispensation has functioned, you agree with me that at no point in time in the determination of our destiny, either politically either religiously, either socially, that we have to take dictates from outside of Nigeria. If we have issues with regards to our constitution, you and I know very well that what the government does is to call all stakeholders to a table that we call the Constitutional Conference. We've had so many. And as we speak here, the constitution that binds the Nigerian people was manufactured by Nigerians. Even though some people want to argue with you that it was bequeathed to us by the military government. And the question we ask, the military officers who bequeathed this constitution, are they Nigerians or foreigners? The answer is they are Nigerians. Right. So that shows you that Nigeria as a country has been truly independent in the last 65 years.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Nelson once again. That clap is not good enough. Come on. Barrister, you heard him.
Yes.
He's been able to roll out indices concerning the independence and how we've been able to thrive.
Yes.
He says, look, since 1999, we've had uninterrupted democracy despite the challenges. And you also know that there is no perfect country in the world. Every country has their peculiarities with the challenges they face. How do you stage a protest against such an argument?
Well, democracy, the independence we're talking about in context in this program is one of extended meaning. It's not the democracy of, it's not the independence of dictionary or of a word and meaning. It is the independence that is orchestrated from the metaphors of our realities. In the last 65 years, he has alluded to the fact that we've had independence, and that's fine. But he forgot to inform the listeners and the viewers that in this last 65 years, there's been a question of fragmented struggle. We have the Southeast talking about secession. We have the West, the Yorubas, talking about Oduduwa Republic. Okay, so in this same 65 years, we've had a lot of agitations, many agitations, from different kind of protests to different kind of movement for secession and the rest of that. So when you put that all together, you cannot truly say that an independent people, okay, the reason the government came up with the Willings Commission is because of the issue of ethnicity and diversity and resource control that the government have not been able to take care of. And so you cannot say we have a uniform control that everyone in the country believes and owns the system. As I'm talking to you today, there are a lot of Nigerians that are defecating on the expressway that the federal government just concluded. People are independent people don't defecate on the expressway. If you are truly and fully independent, you will not find people, unpatriotic citizens all over the place, violating and destroying infrastructure. You will not have that. Because of that lack of ownership, because we have not grown into that ownership, a lot of people today as we speak, apart from sports, when you have football match and the rest of that, there is no time we ever come together to see ourselves as one because of that agitation.
Thank you very much.
And that agitation itself typifies to the fact that these people are not truly independent. They are just a gathering of tribes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and that is what we have.
All right. Nelson, you can actually attest to the fact that he was able to break down the disruption in diversity, ethnicity, and how individuals have been agitating for them to own their own heritage, to go with their own will. Oduduwa People's Congress clamoring for the Yoruba nation, you know, the Southeasterners clamoring for Biafra. And he has actually been able to outline some of these arguments to say, look, if we are truly independent, why are we struggling to break apart, to go and live on our own? If we are truly independent, there should be some level of satisfaction, but it appears the satisfaction is no longer there. How do you argue this?
No, I disagree absolutely that because we have agitations here and there is a reflection of our non-independence. No, that is not the case. Like we used to say, I'm a Yoruba man, for example, for instance, and I can tell you clearly here that we have this proverb that say, "Gbogbo wa ò lè sùn, ká kọrí síbì kan. Life is made up of diversity. You know, like we say, variety is the spice of life. So because you see some persons agitating who want to break away from the norm, because this is a society as independent as we are, we have our rules. My colleague also spoke about our culture. I'm dressed like the Yoruba man. This is to tell you, I'm typifying the independence of our people within the country called Nigeria. That is why you can see me putting on a face cap and putting on a buba and shokoto, a trousers. I'm not putting on the white man's clothes to tell you I came here prepared to prove to you, factually that, we are an independent. These agitations, even in other climes that have also had their independence far and longer than Nigeria, we've also had these agitations. As we speak, people in the Basque region of Spain, they are still agitating. That is the area where clubs like Athletic Bilbao, Barcelona, Espanyol, that is where they come from. They are still agitating to tomorrow. You have also seen agitation even in Great Britain. Those are countries that achieved their independence far longer than Nigeria. So when people agitate based on their sentiments, it should be allowed under our law, and that is why we have a country today that is governed by a constitution made by the Nigerian people, and that constitution stipulates how we live. These same persons, you talk about the old Oduduwa Republic. I'm a Yoruba man, and I know we have this saying that you cannot shave a man's head in his absence. Anybody agitating Oduduwa Republic is agitating it for him or herself. I have my representative in the independent political governance and political structure established by the Nigerian state. So the independence of Nigeria is not in that. You look at our economy, for example, over the years, we've had a relationship that extends far beyond the Nigerian shores. And thank God today, we have a government in power that is harnessing our potentials. That is why the government can come out boldly and tell you that for a very long time, we're having trade surplus with our foreign partners. It tells you clearly that if we are not independent, you expect that we'll still be getting everything we want from the diaspora. All right. But today, as much as we are getting from them, we are also giving back to those environments.
All right, Barrister Felix, after 65 years, he's saying we don't have what it takes to actually hold down our weapon armory to do the needful to get the weapons we need to fight off invasion.
I'm happy that he has agreed to my point and he has come to my side. Truthfully so, because when you look at first the economic sojourn of the Nigerian state, before the advent of the Dangote refinery, we were importing 100% of fuel into the country. We export crude, import 100%. That's what we're doing. The refineries were working. An independent people, you would think that they should be able to come to that consensus to build refineries that will work. Okay? But we have spent so much on turnaround maintenance, we are not able to put it together till as we speak. If Dangote had not intervened, by now we'll be buying fuel for maybe 2,000 naira per liter or 4,000 naira per liter. Because of that intervention of a citizen, that is why we can boldly say today that we're independent. Now, we're saying that we're independent because we have not really have serious international challenge. And that is why our foreign policy is non-alignment. You know that today the South Africans are against the Israelis or the Israel because of the war in Gaza and the incursion of Hamas and all that. Because the South Africans, they have the capacity to say, you, this country, why are you acting this way? We do not have that. We are non-aligned. So we don't point hand to any country because we're not able to feed ourselves and put ourselves in order. So what we do is to just look at the world, maybe talk about a seat in the security, whatever, at the UN and the rest of that. But when you talk about true independence, where you have devolution of power to the component unit of states, where states can manage the humongous resources of this country, put them together and develop the state so that the country can have a unified development.
All right.
In 1963, in 1963, when we had regionalism, every region had their own different constitution, and every region, they were able to mine and produce their own resources and put things together. And Nigeria became a very great country to live in at that time. Okay, when we dropped that and moved to the issue of states, everything became centralized. How do you say people are independent when the oil resources at their backyard does not belong to them? It belongs to Abuja and the federal government. And the federal government that pack over 66 items in the exclusive list have no competency on one. NNPC have never functioned truthfully one day. To manage those oil resources is a problem, let alone other mineral resources of the country. So when you put all this together, you find a huge level of economic injustice. You have, inequalities, and you have, then you have state capture, capture, corruption.
Barrister, before you proceed, you made a point now. You said, when it comes to the issues of interfering with other countries that have conflict, Nigeria do not seem to have a leverage in that regard. But you actually agree here with me that Nigeria has been able to hold forth peace with neighboring African countries, because let's be realistic, charity begins at home. We are known to be one of the most formidable force that has been maintaining peace in neighboring African countries for years, and we have been touted to be one of the best armies, troops on ground to deliver such verdict. How do you still stand here and make it look as if Nigeria has not even come of age in that regard, despite the fact that we are called giants of Africa, but we're able to hold the peace amongst other African countries? Our soldiers are called into terrorist enclaves to go and settle issues and conflict.
Yes, you are right. You are right, because you are talking largely about the past. Okay, not the Nigeria of today.
So are you saying the Nigerian army has lost its glory? Is that what you're saying?
Not really, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in the past, Nigeria's contribution to the independence of South Africa and the apartheid regime is one that we can all attest to, that Nigeria did very well. The ECOWAS we talk about today, Nigeria was a formidable force in ECOWAS. And in those days, when ECOWAS was truly ECOWAS, because today ECOWAS is nowhere to be found. I mean, the UN, the African Union, that is the mother body of ECOWAS itself, has lost its grip, okay? So the ECOWAS, that is the fragment of that, is not able to put up, look at, there's a Sahel state now, I hope you are aware, that Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and the rest of them have pulled out, okay? Out of the 15 member countries, you have just how many right now? So you cannot say that in the past, Nigerian army did wonderfully well. The Nigerian police did wonderfully well. The Nigerian army was founded in 1960. The Nigerian police was founded in 1930. And collectively, they did wonderfully well in terms of security in the whole of Africa and peace mission and peacekeeping. We've seen that. I mean, we do. But what I'm talking about today is that Nigeria has so lost its grip to the point where today what you have is now state capture. Okay. And that state capture, that state capture is what corruption is doing to the Nigerian state. I mean, look at the youth.
Corruption is doing to the Nigerian state.
Yes.
Nelson, very quickly, you heard the argument.
Yes, I want to quickly debunk some of the arguments he made. And it is about the fact that he said the Nigerian foreign policy is not aligned, that we don't interfere in international affairs. No, that is not correct. Nigeria's foreign policy has been solely based on making Africa the centerpiece. And that was why we gave it our all to ensure that South Africa became liberated. We gave it our all to ensure that the war in Liberia ended. We gave it our all to end the political crisis in Sierra Leone and Gambia. That is to tell you the focus of the Nigerian states today, of 65 years of our independence. Talking about the issue in Gaza, between Israel and Palestine, Nigeria has not missed words in condemning the dehumanizing conditions of the people down there. Even our vice president recently was at the UN and he re-echoed that statement of the Nigerian government. We also talked about the issue of importation of fuel. We have 4 functional refineries before now. And these days that he said our refineries were not functioning until Dangote refinery came on board. It's also part of our learning process that as a people, you walk, you can stumble, but like one of our elders used to tell us that there's a Chinese proverb that the fault is not in a man falling 75 times. It's about the ability to rise after his fall, and that is what we are doing.
All right. It's about the ability to rise when a man falls. This is still right here, the conversation. Is Nigeria truly independent? We've had 2 divided opinions here, and trust me, we are getting somewhere with this. Let's go on this quick break, and when we return, this will be the crossfire right here on the Big Welcome back if you're just joining us. This is the Big Thank you very much. And of course, it's time to turn up the heat right here as Nelson Ekujimi and Barrister Feli are still very, holding forth with the topic saying, look, Nigeria is not independent. Ofeli is saying, no, it's just on paper. Nelson is saying, yes, Nigeria is independent. Now, Nelson, before we begin the crossfire, why is it that our leadership are still being captured by foreign allegiances? We have our leaders still holding assets abroad. Education is not prioritized here that much. They send their kids abroad to study. And you begin to wonder, why is the system not healthy enough for them to actually hold their words here to go through the educational system? We understand the healthcare system as well. Most of the time, we fly abroad to go and take treatment compared to how we are supposed to hold fort back at home to do what we have to do. How do you argue this? And yet you say Nigeria is independent.
Yes, our independence cannot be divorced from the fact that we've had challenges in the last 65 years. And those challenges are manifested in various lacuna within the system that you have just mentioned.
Right.
But the fact that some persons are going abroad for medical tourism does not take away the fact that a lot of persons are even coming from abroad, to come and access medical facilities here. In the life of this country, there was a time that the University College Hospital, Ibadan, was a mecca for medical tourism by persons overseas. But along the line, we dropped the ball. But I'm sure right now we are picking back, the ball and ensuring that we return back to the days of glory. A 65-year-old man, you cannot expect that he might not have suffered from different type of ailments in the course of his life. So, the fact as we are, you talk about our health institutions. Some of the best health institutions in the world today are domiciled here in the country. In fact, to also tell you our independence, talking about the issue of people who have cancer and what have you, we have seen a situation whereby a lot of medical facilities or medical equipments have been installed in this country today that can treat any type of ailment that happens to any Nigerian. So the independence of Nigeria will not take away the fact that Nigeria is a country peopled by human beings. And these human beings are subject to the vagaries of the environment and the weather. They are not ions that do not rust.
All right, okay.
Well, how do you, our independence is questionable, because how do you say you have independence and your monetary policy is driven by the IMF and the World Bank? The cost of goods and services in the country is influenced and driven by the exchange rate of the dollar, the pound, and the euro. And you have, because of this incitement, you have a deluge of citizens leaving the country, you understand, to go seek for greener pasture elsewhere. You have a government that have not been able to take care of these areas we talk about, these imperialistic implantations. that have whittled down the economic fortune of the Nigerian state. The economy, as we speak today, does not have the stringe of growth. It is stunted as we speak. It is stunted as we speak.
No,
Then of course, it's stunted as we speak.
Yes,
then when you look at the general...
The prices of goods in this country, as we speak today, is determined by the factors of demand and supply. And
demand and supply that is tied to the influence of the World Bank and the IMF. The dollar.
It's dependent on the skills and the available resources. As an expert, if you are trained, you can determine what you want to earn in view of the economic realities of existing,
Nigeria is import dependent.
We make Gary.
Nigeria is
Gary
import
determined by the price of
Do you manufacture computers? No. Do you manufacture computers? Do you manufacture cars? You don't. So it is the dollar that determines the economy of Nigeria. And that dollar is foreign.
America imports electric cars from China. You can see that China has
we're not talking about America. We're talking about Nigeria's independence.
No, independence does not mean
we're not
independent outside your country.
We're not independent because of the influence of the dollar.
No,
because our economy is import driven. We do not produce anything. We do not produce anything.
Our economy today is export driven. You agree with me? Because we have
it's import driven, not export.
Trade policies.
No, it's import driven.
No.
It's not export. What do we export?
We exported.
What? Can you give us a checklist?
Recently, the government.
Can you give us a checklist?
Recently, the government placed a ban on the export of sesame seed because Nigerians were taking it abroad and they were making a huge amount of money. That is to tell you the benefit of the local economy.
So is this sesame seed? Is it the export of sesame seed that make the Nigerian economy export driven?
Gary. People are exporting food and children. People are exporting it outside the country. I know quite a number of Nigerians who, when they come visiting home, when they are going back, they go back with these groceries from Nigeria because they tell you this is what suits their health system.
Groceries from Nigeria does not in any way make our economy export driven.
No, I'm not talking about the economy.
If you look at the volume, if you look at volume,
yes.
Let's take cars for example.
Yeah, okay.
Let's take computers for example. Things that we use on daily basis in our offices, in our workplace, in schools, and all that. Even the clothes we wear, majority of the things we use, they are foreign. And that is why
I agree with you.
That is why the dollar is always high up there.
Evans,
because we are not earning enough
Evans,
of it.
You agree with me that there was a time in the life of this independent country whereby Nigeria was the textile headquarters of Africa.
Very well.
It is within these 65 years of our nationhood.
Yes.
So along the line, we dropped the ball.
Why didn't we sustain that?
Well, I've just told
lack
our
of
audience that, like the Yorubas will say, Eyoleri, Korimami, we are not perfect. We have our flaws. I said it earlier on, we dropped the ball somewhere. But right now, we are going back to the basics. Dangote Refinery, I hope you know that Dangote Refinery is not owned by Alhaji Aliko Dangote himself. The Nigerian government is a shareholder in that refinery. Yeah,
Nigerian government have percentage.
Yes,
I know that.
So if he is sourcing for his product, it is incumbent on any businessman to look for where he will get his product and make the most profit.
And please let the listener let the listener know that the 20% shares we are talking about is not paid up. Okay? So the federal government just have a fragment of it, and that's why the NNPC does not take it serious.
And that is why
just
because of that fragment that you feel is insignificant. That is why the Nigerian government has mandated the Oil Exploration Company of Nigeria, which is the NNPCL, to ensure that she makes crude oil available to Dangote. And also the Nigerian government has made it mandatory that crude oil you are selling to Dangote must be in Naira and not in dollars.
You are selling crude oil to Dangote, and Dangote is still importing.
Because
it tells you that you don't have the capacity. Well, the Dangote refinery appears to be bigger than whatever the federal government is offering.
No.
Because of the forward sale agreement we had under Buhari, that a huge chunk of our crude oil had been taken away by loans and the rest of that.
Not only the forces, Evans. The issue here at play is that Nigeria has the best crude oil in the world. The best crude is the sweetest crude.
All right.
And it is very, very expensive.
All right, Nelson just said the crude oil that is being supplied to Dangote has to be done in Naira, and I think that process is still ongoing. It has not stopped. So can we just please deviate from this whole Dangote refinery and the crude oil situation, because
no, it's this with our independence.
Yes, absolutely. But from your point of view, you have been very, very emphatic about the fact that while the discussions were going on, you quite agree that at some point Nigeria was doing well in so many areas. In the area of security, you did allude to the fact that Nigeria was quite emphatic with security and trying to retain peace all around Africa, but somewhere along the line,
not anymore.
We dropped the ball. But he said somewhere along the line, we dropped the ball. Are you saying a man does not have challenges in his life? Is that what you're saying?
People have challenges. I mean, citizens, people, companies, countries have challenges. In fact, some companies go into recession. Banks go into recession and the rest of that. But what we are saying as of today, the question is, are we really independent as we speak now as we're talking? Do you understand? And I'm saying that by virtue of the Independence Treaty of 1960 and the Republican Treaty of 1963, we are on paper. But in reality, as we speak today, we are not. Because
the Nigerian government,
as I talk to you now, the insurgents are taking territories.
Yes,
you understand? Christians are being killed all over the world, all over the country. And we're not able to exterminate insurgency, even with the military you are talking about. The security you are talking about, we have not been able to take care of that.
All over the world, the issue of security is a global trend.
Not in the way we have it in Nigeria. Go to Benue State.
Yes.
Go to places in the north, and you see the level of what is going on. We have other layers of insecurity now. So we have banditry. We have so many names now.
I agree with you. That is the complexity of our society.
Under the watch of the federal government.
Yes, that is the complexity of
what kind of independence is that?
The independence we have is that these challenges we are having, which is the normal trend in a human life, because we are looking at a 65-year-old man whom along the line maybe he had a headache. He was sick he could have been, on his sick bed for a long time. But it has come out of his bed.
Is this not also a function of leadership? Why can't the right people be put in the right places to do the job? To avoid this headache, back pain, and all of that. You made a valid point earlier on. You said, well, Nigeria is subject to human beings and the capacity to be influenced by the environment. There was a time in this country when we were told that snakes swallowed money. How do you explain that kind of attitude from a Nigerian? And you also actually allude to the fact that things have not been really, really okay with the fact that people have not been caught, people have not been held responsible or accountable when they err. For example, corrupt officers, corrupt people who have been caught have not been prosecuted the way it should be prosecuted.
Well, I don't.
Yes, Nigeria is independent, like you say.
Yes,
but most of our corrupt politicians that have been caught stealing have not been prosecuted. Most of the time, they don't even get the
matter here is that it is not enough for you to say somebody is corrupt. What makes a man corrupt is the provision of the necessary evidence to nail him or her and get a conviction by the courts. A lot of times we run with a lot of narratives that are not true. We run with narratives that we don't have facts to back it up.
Hold it there. Barrister, you are a barrister.
Yes.
Fantastic. Are you also not culpable? Because at the end of the day, is it about the laws that are supposed to guide the country to save us from these issues we are facing? Are you saying you also have fallen short in your own department as a lawyer?
No. Let me say that I am one of the best citizens of this country. I am one of the best citizens of this country. If you check my records, right from cradle, I've been a teacher even before I became lawyer. I have taught a lot of people, even people watching from all over the world. I have contributed my quota hugely to the development of this country. But I'm saying today that we're not independent. First, out of 200 million people, that's the estimate we have, 133 million are living in multidimensional poverty as we speak. Okay. So that tells you that more than half of the population, more than half of the Nigerian population is living in multidimensional poverty. And you say that that is independence.
More than half of the Nigerian population is living in abject poverty. We go on a quick break and we return. This is the Big Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Big Thank you so much. All right, so far so good. We've been having a very fantastic time with the conversation, and the question has been very, very crucial. Is Nigeria truly independent? You can agree that both individuals here have been very, very swift with their takes, and they've been very precise with how they've been able to deliver their verdict based on how the argument has been trending for a while. But right now, we're going to be switching allegiance to the audience because, of course, we get to hear from them, and they have questions for our guest standing here. Let's just hope they will not be directing the missile to just one person. But, of course, I have our first, audience viewer right here to go on. Please tell us your name and who you're directing your question to.
My name is Goodness, and I work in the retail sector. So we have so many times where customers are always demanding for foreign items as against locally produced items. Why is it that we can't focus more on producing Nigeria-made items and let people patronize Nigerian items more than buying foreign items? Right. If we say we say we are independent, why can't we focus more on producing Nigeria-based items rather than focusing on getting people to buy more foreign items?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Mercy, answer that quickly.
The reason is attitudinal. There is nothing that is produced anywhere in the world that Nigerians do not have the capacity to produce locally. But our people have developed this penchant for foreign taste goods. And that is responsible for that. I want just hope that the authorities will go on an advocacy to make Nigerians resonate or sync with the saying of the late former President Muhammadu Buhari, who said we should produce what we eat and we should eat what we produce.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much. Champion Michael. It's a contribution very quickly. I want to pitch my tent basically with Barrister because I feel that Nigeria is not truly independent. In your analysis, Mr. Nelson, you talked about we are being independent, and you also said that we have foreign relationships and all of that. So in saying that, I feel that you are not pitching the tent of independent, but rather interdependent. And so there are two different words. If you look at dependency, if you look at, for example, the corruption, our leaders are not held accountable. Barrister talked about export. This is an import-driven economy, and because of that, we have issues driving poverty. He talked about the indices about poverty. I read in the news today that it's not even 133. The World Bank talked about 139 million Nigerians living below poverty. That number increased from 115 million in 2023 to 139 million in 2025. And this is because the institutions are not working. Leaders are not held accountable. The patriotism you talked about, you just talked about, advocacy and all of that. National Orientation Agency, what are they doing? There's no buy-in to the Nigerian culture, into the Nigerian spirit, because people are losing faith in the system. And that's why JAPA is increasing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you want to respond to that quickly?
Yes. The fact that our leaders have, failed the nation does not mean the citizens should also follow suit. In the course of this engagement, Barrister Evans Ufeli told you about people defecating in the open space. I'm sure no leader ever taught us to defecate openly. What I know as a young boy who grew up, who was born, bred, and buttered in this environment is that cleanliness is next to godliness. How we became what we are today is between you and I. Nobody in our homes, we are taught those values. And in order to enhance our alignment with those values, we are even taken to church or mosque so that we hear from our pastors and they preach those things we have, those biblical or Quranic sermons. So if you're looking at how we arrived here today, I don't think it will be charitable for us to be pointing accusing fingers only at the leadership while we, the citizens, we fail to do our own.
All right.
We talk about vandalization of public assets. Who vandalizes it?
Thank you very much, Nelson.
It is the citizens.
Thank you very much, Nelson. All right, fantastic. Your name?
So my name is Mofin Foluwatere, and my question is directed to Barrister here, because I totally agree with Mr. Nelson when he said that the fact that Nigeria is independent doesn't mean that things will just go smooth and rosy. We'll still face challenges. And many times, the countries we compare ourselves to, they are countries who have spent over 100 years being independent. So my question now is that since independence majorly focuses on freedom, so we've talked a lot about the economic side of Nigeria. Would you agree that Nigeria is indeed free from external factors, external interference, and dictation from the Western countries?
I don't agree. I don't agree because your monetary policy today is determined by the World Bank and IMF. Okay? So the influence is heavy. I mean, even your leaders, take resources from here, move them over there. Till date, we are still having funds being returned. The Abacha loot, we still have them being returned. You understand? In my state, the governor of my state, at some point, James Ibori, stole the state dry. The current leaders, they are still stealing. That applies to every other state in the country. So you cannot talk about independence when the citizens have no control of their resources. It is just less than 1% of our population that determine that you have 133 million. Somebody says now 139 million living in multidimensional poverty.
All right, thank you very much.
You understand? So we are not independent at all.
Thank you very much. Who's next? Okay, good.
Thank you, Barrister. My name is Wale Fakui. I want to make an allusion to what you mentioned earlier, because one of the things we've seen is that once Nigerians cross the shore, but there's this resilient spirit in us. We've seen they're in John Hopkins, they are everywhere they go to, they excel. So I think there's a dissonance. So how do we begin to change this narrative? Like I said, it's been an interesting conversation. How do we begin to change this narrative? Apparently now we're trying to bring talents home to come and develop our country. So the question is directed to you. How can we begin to harness all this potential to make Nigeria great or to just assert our independence?
My answer to that question is first, everything rises and falls on leadership. We need the kind of leadership that will propel that kind of development you are talking about. We need a kind of leadership that will inspire confidence, okay? And that will lead to what you are talking about. We also need citizens that are disciplined. Please don't misunderstand me. Nigerians are largely indisciplined. Many of us are indisciplined. People are defecating on the expressway. I went to court. I had to take the Attorney General of the state, 2 states in Nigeria, to court because under their watch, the citizens are messing up the environment, okay? Meanwhile, when we travel abroad, we fall in line, we behave proper, we don't act the way we do here. So while we're talking about leadership that is formidable, that have respect for the citizens, that believe in the security and welfare of the citizens, and they are putting all the structures together. Conversely, the citizens must be able to invest in themselves and invest in the country by putting forth the best behavior and putting forth the best kind of relationship. Nigeria is not going to change just by our criticism. It's going to change by citizens' corresponding obligation to do what is right. If you look at Section 24 of the 1999 Constitution, it talks about the duty, okay? When you look at Section 13, okay, down of the 1999, it talks about what the government need to do directive principles of state policy, okay? What government need to do to make sure that the country comes alive, the citizens are okay, and the rest of that. But in that section 24, it now talks about citizens' corresponding obligation. You should be able to respect the national anthem. You should be able to pay your tax. You must declare profit and give that which belongs to government to ensure that the country move forward. That is how to move Nigeria forward.
On the bright side, so we don't dwell too much on the negatives, let's not also forget that Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, she's GCON, and of course, she is the Director General at the World Trade Organization. Come on, put your hands together. Please put your hands together for that. Fantastic. All right. So regardless of what is argument, regardless of where it lies, we also agree that there are positives and there are negatives. So far, so good. It's been a wonderful time right here, but we'll go on a quick break and we'll come back and round this up. This is, of course, still the big issue. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the big issue. But of course, you quite agree this has been very engaging. This conversation has been very interesting. And so far, these individuals here have been able to argue their points based on how they understand the said matter. Barisafele is saying, look, Nigeria is not independent. The independence is just merely written on paper. It's a treaty that doesn't have a function with how things have been going on. But of course, Nelson here says, look, Nigeria is independent. We cannot take away the negatives of how people tend to turn their life towards how things go, but it does not take out the fact that so far we've had wins and we've celebrated a lot of positives on the side of being independent. But right now, in just 30 seconds each, I would want you guys to take your points home. But since Barisafele started the conversation, I think I would have to end with you quickly. In 30 seconds, how do you drive this conversation home?
Well, I would drive this conversation home by saying, truly, we have had 65 years of independence, 65 years of nationhood. And in that 65 years, we've had our faults. We've stumbled, but we have risen. Barrister Evans Ufeli today knows very well that there was a time in this country that judges in the judiciary arm of government, they were writing proceedings with long arm. But with developments, because we control our own destiny, today, those things are being done electronically so as to dispense justice faster. If we are not in control of our affairs, we will still be back in those good old days. So there's no doubt about it. 65 years has not been roller coaster. It has been 65 years of some gains. We've made losses, but the truth of the matter is that we are still focused on where we want to be.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, Barrister.
Very well. I understand the fact that by practical terms and by the realities of things, you and I know that we're very far away from independence. Okay. Individually, we may have succeeded. A lot of persons have succeeded individually. And that is why when you look at, we are the best citizens globally today. For the first 5 months of this year, for the first five months of this year, I was in the US. So, and I understand the conversation on the street of the United States. Everybody wants to be a Nigerian. The blacks that I related with in the US, they all claim that at some point, their great-grandmother told them they were Nigerians. And some of them, I look at their face and say, with this face and this pointed nose and this way, don't you think you are from Kenya? They say, no. That they are Nigerians all over the world. And if you look at what we are doing in the entertainment, the likes of Whiskey, Davido, and the rest of that, putting us high up there, Burna Boy and the rest of that. In IT and technology and the rest of that, we are all over the world. Nigerians are the best surgeons. Nigerians have the best investment bankers in the world. They are all lawyers across the globe. Everywhere you go is the story of Nigeria we're talking about. So we are the best citizens globally. But our government will need to do more to eviscerate us from the banalities of antiquity and poverty. When that is done, when that is done, truly we can now say we have come of age and now we are now have independence. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, as with the ritual of the show right here, in as much as both of them have been able to argue, it doesn't mean they have to leave here with any grudges, all right? But we actually advise that you guys shake hands. We entertain that. You can shake hands now. Come closer. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right, there you have it. Two powerful perspectives on one burning national question. Is Nigeria truly independent? Is it a fact or just fantasy? You decide. But right here in our studio today, we are proud to have students from the National Open University of Nigeria. Please celebrate them once again. Give yourself a round of applause. All right. And of course, special appreciation goes to Chef Anani for the delightful welfare support. And of course, please put your hands together for her once again. Thank you so much. And of course, to the man behind the magic, our program producer, Francis Azubike. Please celebrate him once again. All right, Francis, we salute your excellence. Now, to you watching at home, don't stop the conversation. Follow us at The Big Issue on TVC. Hashtag at The Big Issue. Hashtag The Big Issue. Until next time, Nigeria, stay informed, stay engaged, and above all, stay free. I am Mark Otabo, and this has been The Big Issue.